Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, Ryunosuke made it through that trial by, first positing that not only was Sosuke Natsume innocent, but he was actually the victim here, that William Shamspeare was trying to kill him. And not only that, someone was at the same time trying to kill Shamspeare, Olive Green, the woman who was stabbed on the street outside the building just a few days prior. We are very nearly at the peak of Ace Attorney bizarreness. Just maximum shenaniganry. The only way this could have been topped is if Ryunosuke called some sort of animal to the stand as a witness. This time, actually, this is the first video I'm recording since I got brand new headphones. They're nice and noise-canceling, and boy, the quality of the audio and the music is so much improved. It's wonderful to hear. But at the same time, my voice is actually kind of muffled a bit. So, it's a bit odd feeling. Like, when I speak, it's a bit, what's going on? But, I'll get used to it, and hopefully I don't sound too much different to you guys? Anyway, while the bailiff is going to collect Olive Green, we're talking with Sosuke here, so let's get going. Joyful, jubilant jumping jacks! Oh, Mr. Natsume, I'm so pleased for you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, and non-locum judicial assistant Miss Mikitoba Esquiress. Now, finally, at long last, there can be proof. Proof that I'm innocent, and proof that my tea is innocent. Good morning, my dear fellows. Oh, hey. Herlock Sholmes. May you drink my tepid tea and fall forever silent. I thought there was nothing wrong with it. I thought that tea was innocent. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you came. How wonderful. Please save your derision. I know what you're all thinking. Good morning, he says, when it's very nearly time for luncheon. Your scorn is written clearly across your faces. Nobody said or thought anything of the sort. The truth is, I was determined that today would be the day. As sleep seduced me last night, I thought, tomorrow, for once, I shall not oversleep. I'll rise early and be present in court to support my companions. Such spirited determination has a beauty all its own, does it not? Oh, yes. And then I began to muse on the subject. Why do people oversleep? I queried. Why, time after time, do they make the same foolish blunder? And the answer came to me at once. It's so delightfully simple. People oversleep because they sleep. Well, is that not an astute insight into the matter? Yes. And people walk by moving their legs, and sit by placing their butt on things. Astounding. Oh, yes. Upon which realization, I attempted an experiment. I didn't sleep a wink all night. And the results? By first light, I was exhausted and began to be assailed by fits of drowsiness. Shocking. And so, the conclusion of last night's experiment is this. A good night's sleep is quite simply essential. Yes, I think most of us probably knew that already. What others presuppose, I've proved by experimentation. That, my dear fellow, is the scientific method. Yes, and one more thing. Do you remember this? Oh. Yes, of course, it's the poison that Miss Green was about to drink at the hospital yesterday. Oh, you didn't manage to... It was a laborious task, as the bottle was nearly empty, but such inconveniences do not hinder, Sholmes. I managed to confirm that it contains strychnine. Yes! Oh! That is a huge piece of the puzzle that just clicked soundly into place. So I was right. Perhaps, though of course such circumstantial evidence doesn't prove Miss Green's guilt. I shall leave the bottle in your care now, but licking the inside of the neck is not recommended. Haha. Slow acting. Could I have a word? Whom? Huh? Gregson. But first, while they're talking, let's look at that bottle. A few nicks and scrapes here and there, but otherwise, nothing seems out of the ordinary about this bottle. So this is the poison we've been hearing so much about. Strychnine. There are a few remnants on the bottom of the bottle here. Look. You mustn't be tempted to try it. Of course not, as long as we don't lose this trial. Wow, that's dark. Bit of gallows humor. No, even if we lose the trial. No, we mustn't lose the trial in the first place, Mr. Naruhodo. Make your mind up, Susato-san. No? Anything else to look at? No? Don't spill it out. Alright. Gregson, how good of you to come. Forget it. Excuse me. Wait a minute, Inspector. I don't blame him. I, don't wish to make a nuisance of myself. The look on your face, I'd say it's someone else who you think is making a nuisance of himself. My dear Inspector, please speak freely. Pretend that I'm not here. Believe me, if I could do that, life would be a whole lot simpler for me. Do you have the results, Inspector, of the investigation of Mr. Shamspeare's room? Not yet. Shouldn't be long now, though. No, I'm here about something else. That dead convict, actually. Oh, Selden? You mean the man from the newspaper article we discovered yesterday in Mr. Shamspeare's room? A man by the name of... yes, Selden. I went through the archives at the yard and dug out the fellow's file. There's something in there that... well, it caught my eye. Something caught your eye. What, Inspector? What? I've copied out the relevant parts for you, so you can read it for yourselves. Oh, hopeful. Thank you. Huh. Yeah, if he was perhaps poisoned by gas. Well, he did spend a lot of time in prison, didn't he? Let's see. Related to Selden, 18 counts of burglary, 6 counts of suspected murder. Damn. Died of natural causes whilst in prison, his final moments witnessed only by his cellmate. The estimated £1,000 worth of loot he stole remains unrecovered. Let's see. Manchester's Strangeways prison announced the death of convicted murderer and burglar Selden by natural causes in the early hours this morning. Still no info on his last name. He had been suffering with fever since the end of October. Alerted by the shouts of his fellow cellmate, medical staff arrived to find him already dead before his capital punishment could be carried out. Did we learn anything new from this? I knew all this already. I mean, except for the exact counts of burglary and murder, but... yeah, this is the exact same article. So it's just, this page here. Okay, his final moments witnessed only by his cellmate is probably going to be very relevant. Maybe we can catch someone in a lie. Like, what if the cellmate was William Shamspeare, and that's why he's so eager to hunt for the treasure? Yeah, like, if the cellmate was alone with Selden, what if Selden spilled the beans in his final moments on where the treasure is? And if he told Shamspear where it is, well, Shamspear might go out and search for it. And, well, we do know that Shamspear is very eager to get into a specific room of the Garadeb household. These documents include the details that were in the newspaper cutting we found in Mr. Shamspear's room. Oh, right. Yeah. That's important too. I'll rearrange everything in the court records so we don't have duplicate information. Oh. Okay. Why are you giving us a copy of this important file, though? Well, you're the ones who turned up the clue in the first place, aren't you? I'm just making sure things get handled in the proper fashion. Oh, Scotland Yard's workings are so wonderful. Indeed, my dear fellows, and the inspector here is a shining diamond in its crown. A shining diamond? In the rough, maybe. Look, I just don't want to be beholden to a lawyer, that's all. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court proceedings are about to resume. Make your way into the courtroom at once. Well, I shall leave you then. I'll be listening with interest from the public gallery. Not nodding off at all, certainly not. Okay, enjoy your nap. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm rather tired of seeing Mr. Mustache in floods of tears, personally, so the best of luck to you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire! Yes, Mr. Natsume? It's time, isn't it? Yes, this is it. Miss Olive Green and Mr. William Shamspear. This is going to be the final battle. I won't really have saved Sosuke-san until I've exposed the whole truth of everything that's been going on. But it's all coming to a head now. You can do it, Ryunosuke. You have to. Yeah, so I guess no investigation phase. Just gonna charge right back in there. 12:30 p.m. We'll be back for dinner time. Oh, I am hungry. I want to eat something. My fridge is empty. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again now. Before the recess, we heard a most startling accusation from the defense. Namely, that the victim of the case we heard here only a few days ago is the true perpetrator of this incident. A reckless, rash, and prejudiced charge of wrongdoing, in my opinion, my lord. However, the prosecution has tried to extend every courtesy to this amateur newcomer from dubious eastern shores. Thank you for that backhanded consideration. A rather cold assessment from the Honorable British Prosecutor, I must say. So, Lord Van Zeeks, is the new witness present and ready to take the stand? Ready and waiting in the witness's antechamber, my lord. Very well. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in. Oh, she's painting. That's nice. Oh, she's gonna draw funny things and show us, isn't she? That's nice. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court, please. William Shamspear, my liege. For mine occupation I can say only that I be a tragic victim to be pitied. I pity the fool. Currently unemployed, in other words. I'm Olive Green. I'm a fledgling artist. Well, no. Not a fledgling, really. A hopeless failure who's too weak-spirited to admit she has no talent, I suppose. Oh! Also currently unemployed, in other words. What a coterie. A what? I've never heard that word. Mr. Shamspear. My lord, I am thy humble servant. I'm afraid that you are no longer merely the victim in this affair. The possibility has been raised that you are in fact the assailant, intent on taking the life of your fellow lodger. The part you have played in this whole business will be thoroughly scrutinized, I assure you. I would for naught else, my lord. And Miss Green. Yes? You are aware of the reason you have been summoned to this courtroom today, I presume? Yes, the officer did explain. Okay, that's not where I thought she would draw something. He said I poisoned this ridiculous buffoon. And do you accept the charge, Miss Green? I don't know anything about any poisoning. And I don't know anything about this man. Come, lady, die to live. Verily, I know not thy prickly pea-pigmented personage. Very well, let us proceed with the matter at hand. That being to ascertain whether or not Miss Green has any involvement in this affair. It's all very strange indeed. Why would you suspect me? I'd barely ever go to the East End anyway. It so happens that I passed by that neighborhood 6 days ago, that's all. And on the night that the man was poisoned, I was still in hospital, fighting for my life. Yes, having been unfortunately caught up in the incident on the street outside the Garadeb household. An incident that rendered you unconscious for some 3 days. I was struck in the middle of my back by a knife, though through no fault of my own, and now I'm under suspicion. What other irrelevant things might I be suspected of? It's all very disturbing. Your energies may be better spent worrying about random knife attacks, I feel, Miss Green. At this point in time, all that appears to connect you with Mr. Shamspear's lodgings is the Briar Road incident of 6 days ago. That's why we would like you to testify formally now about exactly what happened. Oh no! The incident 6 days ago? You mean you want me to relive that awful accident? Unfortunately, yes. Please tell the court what happened that day. And of course, we will be interested to hear from you about your movements that day too, Mr. Shamspear. But what happened 6 days ago is nothing to do with me being poisoned. Let us proceed, then. The witnesses will present their formal testimony to the court on the subject of the incident that took place on Briar Road the evening of the 17th of February. It was 6 days ago, at about 5 p.m. I was walking along in the snow when I was suddenly stabbed in the back. Coincidentally, it happened to be just outside the house where the men in this case have their lodgings. I was at the tavern on the eve of which thou speakst, for I had bespoke my supper. Yeah, this guy's dialogue is riddled with incorrect grammar. I don't think speakst is correct. And bespoke is nonsense. I mean, it's an actual word, but his usage of it there is not correct. It was the first time I'd been in the area. I had a little matter to attend to, that's all. Anyway, I was admitted straight to hospital, so I knew nothing about all of this business. Yes, a second incident inside a week at what I believe to be aptly described as the haunted lodgings. One can only presume this is a most unfortunate coincidence. Meanwhile, you say you were not in your room, Mr. Shamspear. 'Twas the following morn when I did awaken that I learnt of the dire events. Mary, what a commotion did the officers of the law make on the floor above mine! When Sosuke-san was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder, as suspected, there is nothing connecting these two witnesses but happenstance. It's true, it does seem as though they're unrelated at first glance, but I'm not so sure. There's something lurking in the shadows here. I feel certain of it. And this is my one and only chance to expose it. Counsel, you may now cross-examine these two witnesses if you wish. Yes, my lord. All right. I think we need to bring up the letter. The letter is the link that proves why Green was coming to this location. Or nearby, I guess. But first, let's press everything. It was 6 days ago, at about 5 p.m. I was walking along in the snow when I was suddenly stabbed in the back. Hold it! I'm well acquainted with the case. I'm sorry you had to go through that. It was awful. I still can't believe I was unconscious for so long. And I woke up to find that the case had been solved and the culprit arrested. Oh, yeah. Well, that's why Joan's not in this. She's in jail. Okay. Yes, the incident had been resolved already. Perhaps it would help you to consider it a bad dream that ended with your awakening and should now be forgotten. Yes, I suppose so. Thank you. But before you put it completely behind you, Miss Green, I need you to remember the details one last time. You must tell the court exactly what happened that day, for us to arrive at the truth about this new case. The trouble is, there's nothing to tell, really. I was just walking along the pavement. Coincidentally, it happened to be just outside the house where the men in this case have their lodgings. Hold it! What were you doing there that day, though? What do you mean? The art school you attend, what's it called? Yes, it's the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. According to Mr. Sholmes, that's just in the vicinity of Brixton Road, which is some 10 stops away from the scene on the Underground. I believe you mentioned before that you also live on Brixton Road, isn't that right? So why then would you have been walking along Briar Road in the middle of the East End? Well, it's because, oh, yes, of course. I thought it might make a nice picture. The witness is a student of art. City-dwelling artists can't all paint grand urban vistas. That's right. I happen to like the crumbling look of that part of town. Perhaps quaint would have been a less grating term. The point is, she's definitely hiding something. Yes, it seems she's not going to be forthcoming with the truth. If she's trying to hide why she was there that evening, it must mean there's a reason for her not wanting us to know. That's the key to this. And you, Mr. Shamspear, on the evening of the incident 6 days ago, would you tell the court what exactly you were doing? 'Twould be my pleasure, sire. I was at the tavern on the eve of which thou speak'st, for I had bespoke my supper. Hold it! A tavern, you say? Which one? 'Twas the slug and salad where I did tarry. 'Tis a jewel in the East End. And a little unexpected, I feel. What do you mean, Lord Van Zieks? The Slug and Salad offers unusually fine dining, for the locality at least. Not an establishment you'd expect to be patronized by a man with not even a crumb of bread in his room. It's true. The menu lists premium crusts of bread and glasses of water, in different levels of cloudiness. Oh my. I would have expected Grub's Grubbery in the local vicinity to be more appropriate for your means. Watery soup and mushy peas, or rather soupy water and pea-like mush. All equally appetizing. I just wanted to try some water in a different pub for once. What's wrong with that? How different can water really be? Oh man, I'm so used to the water from my fridge, the dispenser from my fridge, like I can't handle bottled water, man. Bottled water is gross in comparison. My fridge water is the best water in the world. Anyway, or perhaps there's a more plausible explanation. Yeah, I'm thinking he just made that the meetup place to make himself look better. He strikes me as a very vain person, concerned with appearances. A specific reason why he had to go to that particular establishment. Agreed. The fact that on that day of all days he dined at a place he wouldn't normally does stand out. So Mr. Shamspeare's own actions on the day of the incident 6 days ago were slightly suspicious. I wonder if we have some evidence that can explain those actions. Well, do I want to do this right now? What is the rest of the letter? I don't think we have it just yet. Not at the moment. We'll come back to this. I wish we did, but sadly I can't think of anything at the moment. I want to eat a pizza. I'm hungry. If we find a clue that could explain why Mr. Shamsphere went there, we must present it to the court. Yes, absolutely. If that is all on this matter, Counsel, I would ask Miss Green to reiterate her next statement. It was the first time I'd been in the area. I had a little matter to attend to, that's all. Hold it! What little matter, Miss Green? Please elaborate. It was nothing, really. It's not worth mentioning. If you remember, you mentioned it to us yesterday at the hospital. It was related to the card you were holding. Miss Green. What was that? She clearly just hid something behind her back. From memory, I believe the card contained a note that read, I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. What does that matter? What? This has nothing to do with Duncan. Oh, hello. Excuse me. Mr. Shamspere, do you have something to share with class? To be or not to be, that is the question. Ah, pray forgive me, the great bard's word springeth from within me with ne'er a thought. Don't tell me it's because you're possessed by Shakespeare's spirit, right? Hearing Miss Green's words a moment ago seemed to make you think of something. Something of relevance, perhaps. Well, nay, sire, 'twas nothing at all. Presumably you know the name, though. Mr. Duncan Ross, I mean. After all, you were both lodgers in the same house. I would it were so, but sadly nay. Lodging be a lonely occupation, sire. My lodging fellows be rarely known to me. So you haven't heard of him, even though he passed away in the room just one floor above yours? Miss Green.
Me, my lord? Have I done something wrong?
The card that was mentioned before, containing the note. Do you have it upon your person?
I do, yes, but I don't need it anymore. In fact, I should throw it away, really.
Before you dispose of it, the court will take it as evidence, please. Hey, this is the link we need. Of course, that's what links Mr. Shamspeare and Miss Green. It's Duncan Ross. Now, continue with your testimony, please, Miss Green. Alright, let's take a look here. A note in an envelope that seems to have been ripped open rather roughly contains instructions to meet with someone who claims to have information about Duncan Ross. The envelope has been ripped open rather carelessly, hasn't it? Miss Green strikes me as the type to open correspondence more neatly than that.
What is it?
The way the envelope is torn. I'm almost sure I've seen that exact same shape somewhere else.
Oh, you don't mean... Were you thinking of this piece of evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
Exactly, that's it. Try to match them up.
They go together perfectly. This torn off end of the envelope clearly belongs with this card.
Ah! Oh! Anything else we can glean from it? There's not even a printed address on it. I mean, unless that's on the other side. And by other side, I mean the bit that was torn off. No, this had to be personally delivered. Alright.
Anyway, I was admitted straight to hospital, so I knew nothing about all of this business.
Hold it!
Yes, you didn't regain consciousness until the day after the trial, did you? In the early hours.
Exactly, so how could I have had anything to do with it? And yet you still haul me in here to court like this, honestly.
So at the time of the poisoning, the witness was unconscious in her hospital bed. Could there be a more airtight alibi, I ask you? You know, I almost wish that... You see all those silhouettes in the background? I almost wish one of them was replaced by the very iconic outline of Herlock's Pith, Deerstalker helmet, not Pith, his Deerstalker.
And yet, in spite of that, you claim that I was the culprit?
Well,
But you certainly haven't produced any evidence to support your wild claim, have you? None at all.
There you have it. The good lady has yet to see evidence, my learned Nipponese friend. I'm working on it. Counsel, I will point out here that the jury's next decision will be final. We're really up against the wall here.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, you pursued Mr. Shamspeare wonderfully there.
It's worked out well, hasn't it? We have a new clue at last. Alright, now I need to pull off a really insightful objection somewhere.
Well, as you've managed to expose this promising new angle, I wonder if you should perhaps try to develop that.
Ah, yes, of course. And yelling out objections isn't necessarily the best way to do that, I suppose. Righto. I believe we want the third statement.
Hold it!
been the second. Hold on. Or was it the fourth? I think it might have been the fourth, my bad. Oh, a specific reason. Here it is. We have evidence. Mr. Shamspear.
Yes, sire.
On the day in question, is it not the case that you visited the Slug and Salad, a place you don't normally patronize? Patronize? For a very particular reason?
I don't know what you're talking about. Pray, if thou hast some purpose, speakst.
Very well. I will present the court with evidence. Evidence that explains why you had to be at the Slug and Salad that day. Namely, let's see. The contents of the letter said to meet at it?
Take that!
I believe this card reveals the answer. Okay, the fact that the music didn't cut away immediately made me so scared. Good lord, Miss Green's card, you mean? That's right, my lord. It reads, I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Mr. Shamspear, your actions on the afternoon of Miss Green's stabbing are exactly as described in this note. Personally, I find it hard to believe that's a coincidence. Don't you, Mr. Shamspear?
Well... Excuse me, can I say something?
Yes, Miss Green.
That card was delivered to me. It doesn't have anything to do with this odd man, does it?
Well, you'd think so, yes, but it's hard to believe it's merely...
My lord, may I?
May you what, Miss Green?
I'd like to make something very clear about that card.
Very well, then. You may amend your testimony to include details about that particular note.
This note was delivered to me at my address. It's nothing to do with that odd man next to me here.
Okay, I know I need to just provide the torn off bit here, but I want to press it just to see what she has to say.
Hold it!
I think you said that you received it the day before the incident, didn't you?
Yes, that's right.
There appears to be no indication of the sender's name or address on the envelope.
It was in my letterbox and that's all I know, I'm afraid. I have no idea who sent it.
I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Who is this Duncan Ross, please?
A friend of mine. He attended the same art school as I do. He passed away in a tragic accident a month ago now, though. I wasn't sure what to make of that note, to be honest, but in the end I decided to go.
Oh. Yeah, a month ago. So it's February right now, which means it happened in January. And if Selden died in October, yeah, the end of October. Wait. Okay, no. Been suffering with fever since the end of October, so he probably died sometime in December or January, which is definitely enough time for Shamspear to move into the Garadeb house and then poison Duncan Ross to death.
I wasn't sure what to make of that note, but to be honest, but In the end, I decided to go.
So you found out what the information was?
Of course I didn't. You're not thinking straight.
Whilst on her way there, she was stabbed in the back, as my learned friend hopefully remembers.
Ah, yes, of course. She never made it to the meeting. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, you pursued Mr. Shamspear wonderfully there.
Okay, we saw that. Let's just get back to statement number 6. Nothing to do with Shamspear, huh?
Hold it!
What? Oh, God. Wrong button. How you doing today? If you're hearing this, I hope you're having a good day. What did you eat for lunch? Give me ideas, I'm hungry. Oh, by the time you hear this video, I already have eaten, so... Alright, okay, carefully now.
Objection!
There we go. The day before the incident, exactly 1 week ago now, this note was delivered to your address. And upon carrying out the instructions in the note, you found yourself in hospital.
Yes, I did. It's terrible, everything that's happened to me.
Yes, it is terrible. If it's all true, that is.
What do you mean?
Miss Green, have a look at this, please. It's the torn off end of an envelope.
Oh, is it?
And it so happens that it fits together perfectly with the envelope of the note you received.
Well, where did you find that?
In Mr. Shamspear's room.
In my room?
Mr. Shamspear, do you perhaps remember this note from somewhere?
Well...
Your actions that afternoon followed the instructions in the note to the letter. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. And so that's exactly where you went. Let me ask you again, Mr. Shamspear. You already knew about this note, didn't you? And you, Miss Green.
What did I do?
As this torn-off end of the envelope proves, the note was originally in Mr. Shamspear's room. So how is it that it came to be in your possession?
I don't have the first idea. I'm just a fledgling artist, after all.
There is only one explanation. You broke into Mr. Shamspear's room and stole it.
You did what? Sorry, thou hast what? You broke... thou were in my room?
Okay, so it is a character he's playing.
What on earth do you want with me?
It would seem that both witnesses need to testify again. Miss Green.
Yes?
Whilst you have the court's sympathy, I'm sure, for the suffering you have endured in recent events, anyone found to be giving false testimony in a court of law will be duly punished. Please bear that in mind.
Yes, I know.
Very well then, witnesses. You will give formal testimony again now, on the subject of this curious anomaly regarding the note Miss Green claims to have received. Well, the plot thickens. So I still remember that Mr. Garadeb showed us this letter without a noted recipient. I still think that at some point the letters in the envelope were swapped. some reason?
I do remember now. 'Twas a week ago, peradventure, that note was delivered unto me. On the day writ therein, I did tarry a long hour at the slug and salad, yet nobody came. Thereafter, on the evening I shared the company of the Japanese fellow, I did see the note had vanished. I don't know what you mean. You think I snuck into this man's room, do you? Why would I? I can point out the villain here, and as for that torn off piece of the envelope, I don't know anything about it.
You now claim to have received this letter, do you, Mr. Shamspeare?
Faith, 'tis so, my lord, and I would swear to have set it upon the table in my humble lodgings. Yet 'tis clear to me now that since I returned from the tavern that night, I have not laid eyes upon it.
Well, that being the case, young lady, it would appear that your testimony was...
A lie? Is that what you think? How unfair of you to think I'm the one lying.
I beg your pardon.
I'm just a fledgling artist, as I said, and fledgling artists don't lie. That note was delivered to me at my address, besides. Y'all know who the liar around here is.
If that's true, Miss Green, how do you explain the facts? This part of the envelope was, without question, found in...
I don't see why I should explain.
Sorry?
I'm a fledgling artist. My job here is just to say what happened, that's all. It's your job to give the explanations and the proofs. You, the fledgling lawyer.
The fledgling will do his best. Evidently, my learned friend's cross-examination is our only hope of learning the truth. Well, counsel?
I'm ready, my lord.
Very well, then. The defense will now proceed with the cross-examination of the witnesses.
Miss Green clearly did break into Mr. Shamspeare's room. There can be no question of that. That's how she acquired the note.
Yes, two facts that are starting to lead me to a possible explanation for all this. And it's not a pretty one.
Huh.
How interesting.
I do remember now. 'Twas a week ago, peradventure, that note was delivered unto me.
Hold it!
And can you shed any light on the contents of the note at all?
Nay, sire, 'tis as strange to me as a foreign tongue. Even with a knowledge of literature as great as mine own, verily 'tis impenetrable.
But Mr. Duncan Ross had lodgings in the same household as you. In effect, he was your neighbor, so surely you knew him, didn't you?
Alack, if the choice is betwixt I knew him and I knew him not, then 'tis with foreboding that I be forced to declare we were by some small measure acquainted.
Despite your claims, though, you followed the note's instructions and went to the Slug and Salad. Presumably that was nothing to do with your knowledge of literature.
Marry, naught will have the better of me, sire, save for the lure of curiosity. So 'tis true I was compelled by mine own eager heart to betake myself to the tavern. Yet in the end my curiosity was not satiated. On the day writ therein, I did tarry a long hour at the Slug and Salad, yet nobody came.
Hold it!
So even after waiting for an hour, nobody appeared.
Well, yes, sire, 'tis as thou say'st.
Say'st? Really? You paused for a moment before you answered.
In truth, when thou asked whether nobody appeared, I did suddenly recall.
Really? Do you mean to tell the court that somebody did appear after all?
I was not alone that night at the Slug and Salad, my lord. No, 'tis returning to me now. I did treat my lips to almost clear water, and mine innards to a premium crust of bread. And all around me danced a great many companions.
What do you mean?
Flies, sire, flies.
Good lord!
In the name of Beelzebub, what were they? Fairies, perchance, from a midsummer night's dream, come to taunt me?
I think they were just flies.
I can't help thinking about the flies ought to choose something more wholesome to buzz around.
Wow. Shamspeare's not worthy for flies to buzz around. What an insult.
Is that wrong of me?
Probably not. Probably not.
Thereafter, on the evening I shared the company of the Japanese fellow, I did see the note had vanished.
Hold it!
When exactly did you notice it had gone missing?
Such idle thoughts ne'er occupied my mind. I am busied with greater ideas.
In other words, you didn't notice. Several days passed between your outing to the tavern and Mr. Natsume's visit to your room. Yes, it would appear that the note disappeared sometime in that interval.
Such idle thoughts ne'er occupy my mind. I am busied with greater ideas.
And yet, during that time, Miss Green was comatose in hospital, was she not? Clearly then, she could not have been stealing things from Mr. Shamspeare's room.
Yes, of course. It's all some sort of misunderstanding. Isn't it, Mr. Prosecutor, sir?
What if she was, like, teaching that little rat to sneak in and steal something? No.
You have so far failed to give a satisfactory explanation as to how you came by the note.
I am not here to advocate for your defense, madame. I won't tolerate inconsistencies in your story. You would do well to remember that.
Oh, dearie me.
What's Lord Van Zeek's getting at?
I don't know what you mean. You think I snuck into this man's room, do you? Why would I?
So what if I had the letter situation backwards? What if Olive Green sent the letter to Shamspeare? And then her plan was to sneak in while he was out and use her strychnine to poison the little pipe that how could she have gotten the strychnine? Didn't she get that from the hospital? And how would she know that how would she know the method by which Shamspeare killed Duncan? I thought I had something there, but it doesn't make sense. I'm kind of baffled. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what you mean. You think I snuck into this man's room, do you? Why would I?
Hold it!
It seems that this note was actually delivered to Mr. Shamspeare about 1 week ago.
Oh, does it?
But for some reason it ended up in your possession. I can't think of any way that could have happened except for you breaking into Mr. Shamspeare's lodgings.
Objection!
But for what reason would the witness have done that? I won't deny that Miss Green's possession of the note would appear to defy logic. However, Until and unless her involvement in the case can be proven in some other way, any further pursuit of this note is meaningless.
Miss Green could only have come to be in possession of the note by stealing it from Mr. Shamspeare's room. And yet, there's no obvious reason why she would have done such a thing.
What if there was some other reason she broke into his lodgings, though?
Yes, we should pursue that idea, Mr. Naruhodo.
Close now. I can feel it. We're so close to a breakthrough.
I can point out the villain here, and as for that torn-off piece of the envelope, I don't know anything about it.
Hold it!
So you don't want to tell the court the truth about the letter, is that it?
I'm a fledgling artist, remember? Artists are nearly always introverted characters.
Introverted? Fie! This fledgling doth readily cast aspersions about my nature.
Yet I am an angel, a seraph. Birds do harmonize with my song. The wind doth frolic on my wing. Oh, pity, wherefore dost thou accuse one so pure of heart, ample woman?
I want this image on my wall. But it has to be animated, though. It has to be animated.
Pure of heart? I don't think so. Even a fledgling like me can see you're just a failure. Tragedy! Thou shalt not know the true heart of an artist until thine instruction hereafter by death. Oh, the days! Oh, the years! Alas, to enlighten thee, thou must wait so long and in vain. Mr. Naruhodo, interject with some clever remark. This is your chance to shine.
I'm no Shakespearean actor, Mr. Sato. No, as far as I can tell, the only thing that's going to resolve this argument is evidence.
Oh, is evidence, yes. It's clear that Miss Green did in fact break into Mr. Shamspeare's room, isn't it? And that's where she found this letter.
Yes. Two more or less foregone conclusions that lead me to one terrifying conclusion.
Terrifying?
Yes, I'm afraid to say that the outcome of this cross-examination may well change how we look at this case completely. As loath as I am to leave it on this cliffhanger, I think now might be the best time. I'm not going to be foolish enough to say that we might finish this case next time, but I think we're getting close. It might just be 2, maybe... No, not 3. I think we're 2 videos out before the end of this case, and yeah, just everything. What a great case. It's just such great closure to these long-standing mysteries that have been bothering me since the previous game. Well done, Capcom and the Ace Attorney team. Just good stuff here. But yeah, no, my theories kind of got turned on their head. It's looking like the letter was sent by Green to Shamspeare. I think what Ryunosuke's thinking here is that, yeah, Miss Green was the one who poisoned him. But that raises so many questions. Oh yeah, there's still a lot left to go through. Like, we need... Something's gotta be relevant with, like, that picture of Garadeb and Ross standing together. What is the story here, and how is it gonna be relevant soon? Are we gonna, like, prove that Garadeb and Ross were close or something? Yeah, overall, this is just a well put together case. Loving it, so looking forward to next time. I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.